Well, it's good to see so many people from away here. I'm an 8th generation New Brunswicker, but I had to go a little bit farther afield to find work than Alberta. I had to go overseas. I spent most of my career in former Soviet Union, Africa, Asia, fighting corruption. I usually describe my work as trying to fight bad guys in bad places. Well, I've come home now, and now I want to fight bad guys in good places. Like God's country, right? New Brunswick? Yeah. I also have a son called Sam. He's a 9th generation New Brunswicker, so I feel a little bit partial to the same thing, trying to bring a little bit of transparency and accountability to what goes on here. So after seeing what went on in the economies in Eastern Europe, and you saw how oligarchs took over in places like Russia and elsewhere, and everybody cries and says, how terrible is that? How is that possible that an economy can be captured by a small number of political and economic interests? How is it possible that you fuse economic and political power? Right? We cry about it when it happens in Russia. Not too many crying about it here at home, is there?
Yeah.
Right? So what is corruption? Corruption is the misuse of entrusted power for private gain. Sound familiar? Yeah? And it was good that people talked about banana republics. But I can honestly say, having worked in quite a few of them, New Brunswick is not a banana republic. Because nowhere in the world can you extract the resources of a place and not have one public consultation about it. And this is what concerned me. I came back and I saw all this economic activity going on with no public consultations. So what would the people in Africa or in Central Asia do about it? Well, they grab a gun, get on a horseback, and go have a talk. Not that I'm promoting that. I think it's a bad idea, but when we look around and we just see how opaque everything is here, it's shocking. So I feel a little bit like walking tall, you know. I came back and this is my Afghan sweater, and you know, I spent quite a bit of time in Afghanistan. And the Afghans are light years ahead of us on transparency. Their new mining law requires that every contract be published. Right? Thank goodness we have David Coon, because otherwise I'd have to send him off to Afghanistan to fight for transparency. So what we've seen is we've seen a process by which, having no transparency, no access to information, that you can essentially take any resource and do what you want with it. But the worldwide movement is now pushing towards extractive industries transparency. Canada is a big promoter of that. Everywhere in the world except for here at home. So what we've seen is in every jurisdiction in the world, you're not allowed to extract oil and gas or cut down the forest without some degree of public consultation. So where's that here? So we're not a banana republic. We're far worse, because any banana republic wouldn't put up with this stuff, but we're willing to. Right? And how do they do it? They do it through the politics of fear. Give us what you want or the jobs get it. Well, guess what? Natural resources are in demand all over the world. We don't have to give it away for free, or we do actually at a cost. It would be actually good if we gave away the natural resources for free, because we wouldn't have the huge deficit we have. So at the end of the day, it's time for us to stand up and say enough is enough. If you don't want to give us our resources at a fair price, we'll find somebody else who will. And that is what's happening all over the world. You can't do this anymore. You can do it only in a nice developed country like Canada and a wonderful province like New Brunswick can you get away with this sort of stuff. And I think that enough is enough. And that's why I feel a little bit like walking tall, you know. It's about time to get everybody in and say enough is enough. We can't put up with this anymore. How can we let essentially the economic rape of the province occur? And people have said I should tone down my language. I don't want to tone down my language. What else do you call it? Everything is being taken away from us. So at the end of the day, I'm sorry, it's an ugly word, but it's an ugly process that's going on. So I think it's about time that people start calling things what they are. Corruption is corruption. Whether it occurs elsewhere or occurs here at home. And it's about time we did something about it. And I'd like to thank, you know, some of the other people that have been involved in this movement, because it's really great to see that finally civil society is standing up. And that's the answer to everything. If we all stand up and unite together and stop squabbling among ourselves, we'll be actually able to achieve forcing this government to become more transparent and accountable. And I've approached many of the political parties and said, if you're serious about transparency and accountability, I've been doing it for almost 20 years. I'm more than happy to help anybody who wants it. So I'd really like to see, at the end of the day, that every political party in this province commits that they are going to do what the feds are going to force them to do in June 2015, which is publish every single contract on extractive industries. Thanks.